Mr. Clawson.
Thank you for coming, you all, today, and I also pass along my best to the folks that work with y'all, and they got a real tough job. Democracy is messy on Capitol Hill, and so the circumstances are difficult. And so my full respect and appreciation for what y'all do. When I think about terrorists coming out of a dangerous part of the world like this, and what's going on over there, I always think to Turkey. Honorable Mr. Rasmussen, you mentioned it, I think, earlier in your comments. I mean, on the one hand, Turkey has a proud history, a secular history. You got how many thousands of tourists go to the Aegean Sea every year, manufacturing product going out of Izmir back to Europe, and a member of NATO. So you would think on the one hand, these folks ought to be motivated to get things under control here with respect to the highway of tourists. On the other hand, I read about hostage exchanges with ISIL. There's been a long history, as you know, of problems with the Kurds. And also, it almost feels like there's ambivalence with respect to the violence on the border, on the border with the war going on. It doesn't feel to me like we can solve this problem over there and therefore over here without pinning down where Turkey really is. And I don't know where they are. And if we can't get an ally who's a member of NATO to help us in the region, I'm not sure what we could expect from anybody else. So I'm befuddled on where this is going and how we could ever have success without Turkey. And I'm really interested in what you have to say about that.
Well, I think you're absolutely right, sir, that success in the counter-ISIL campaign or in any effort we're engaged in to try to stem the flow of foreign fighters into and out of the conflict zone requires a functioning, effective partnership with the Turks across the whole range of issues, intelligence, law enforcement, diplomacy, all of that. It's also true, though, that Turkey will always look at its interests through the prism of their own sense of self-interest, and how they prioritize particular requests that we make for cooperation doesn't always align with our prioritization. And that's just a simple fact. We have a complicated, ongoing discussion with the Turks, with all of the Turkish government elements, about the specific ways in which Turkey can contribute to the coalition. I wish my State Department partners were here today to kind of talk you through all of the different ways in which they're doing that, but it is truly a mixed story. There are areas where we receive profoundly effective cooperation from our Turkish partners, and it's tremendously useful. And yet, from our perspective, we think there's more to the relationship that we could get, more that we need from the relationship to effectively address our concerns.
And how do we take the next step, or is that purely a State Department issue at this point?
Sir, certainly the State Department has the lead, but our department has been engaged with the Turks on very specific border security and other discussions to try to push forward more cooperation in that regard, and that's continuing. The Turks will be here for the CVE summit. Those engagements will continue. But as Director Rasmussen mentioned, it's a challenge at this point. But we see lights of cooperation beginning to flow in ways that I think will want to explore going forward with them.
Well, we will push this in Foreign Affairs Committee as well, because it seems that if we speak about a broad coalition to take on global terrorism, and we don't have a fully committed Turkey on one bookend, and the other bookend is Syria, for God's sakes, what are we really doing here? So I'll appreciate you all's comments, and I think until you get full cooperation from the Turks, this is going to be a real uphill battle in my view. I yield back.